In June 2018, President Trump announced with great fanfare that he intended to create a Space Force.
We are going to have the Air Force and we are going to have the Space Force.
Fact is, however, the U.S. already has a force for space and has for decades, going back to 1982, the bulk of it under Air Force Space Command. NASA has even gotten involved at times.
Go Air Force.
The Space Shuttle Columbia in 1982 launched the first of several classified military payloads to test sensors for surveillance satellites. Today, Air Force Space Command has some 38,000 people working at 134 locations around the globe. For most of the Cold War, their focus was on foreign missile launches, either targeting the U.S. homeland or U.S. interests abroad. But today, increasingly, they're looking at threats to U.S. assets in space.
The U.S. continuing to monitor the situation.
U.S. adversaries, led by Russia and China, have been testing and deploying a whole variety of weapons that could be used in space. They range from ground-launched missiles that could be fired up into space and destroy satellites in space to things seemingly borrowed from science fiction. There are directed energy weapons, sort of like lasers, that could either disable or fry satellites in space. There are kamikaze satellites that are designed to ram into satellites in space and break them into thousands of pieces. There are even kidnapper satellites that have the ability to grab satellites out of space with a grappling arm. The U.S. has tested and launched its own futuristic space weapons, including this, the X-37B. It's a space drone, in effect, that looks a lot like a miniature version of the space shuttle. It's been in space for missions as long as 2 years. Those missions, classified. Trouble is, even many in the military have expressed doubts about an entirely new space force. They worry about the cost, they worry about bureaucracy. They also worry about the proliferation of offensive weapons in space, perhaps sparking a space arms race. Regardless, the final decision rests with Congress, which would have to authorize a new space force, but also crucially allocate new funding for it, which is estimated to be in the many billions of dollars.